was a lawyer, but walked out a legend? This is the jaw-dropping story of how Pam Bondi, former Florida Attorney General, stood her ground against a powerful judge, got insulted in front of a full courtroom, and minutes later flipped the script in a way that no one saw coming. Welcome to Real Stories, where facts hit harder than fiction. If you're visiting for the first time, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Have you ever wondered what would happen if the person in charge, the one supposed to uphold justice, stepped out of line? What happens then? Today, we're diving deep into a real-life courtroom drama that left jaws on the floor. Not because of a verdict, but because of what happened between a judge and an attorney, and how justice turned its gaze inward. Here's why this story matters. It shows that no one is above the law. Not even a judge. It reminds us that respect in the courtroom is earned, not demanded. And it proves that staying calm under pressure can sometimes be your most powerful weapon. So buckle up. Because what started as just another hearing became national headlines, and it all unraveled in less than an hour. Let's go back to the beginning. Before we talk about the courtroom showdown, we need to understand who Pam Bondi really is. Pam Bondi isn't just a lawyer. She's a former Florida Attorney General, a legal powerhouse, and someone who's been on both sides of the courtroom. Prosecutor and defender. Known for her no-nonsense attitude and sharp legal mind, Bondi has handled high-profile cases that made national news. She's debated on cable news, spoken at political conventions, and even served on presidential legal teams. In short, she knows how the system works, and she knows how to hold her own. But on this day, in a courtroom in Florida, she wasn't. The state's attorney general, she wasn't in front of cameras. She was simply there representing a client in what was supposed to be a routine hearing. The room wasn't packed. Just a few people watching, including clerks, officers, and a couple of other attorneys. That's when Judge Ronald J. Simmons entered the picture. Judge Ronald J. Simmons wasn't new to the bench. Known for his strict demeanor and no room for error approach, he had a reputation for being tough. Some said even intimidating. He ran his courtroom like a military ship, punctual, precise, and unapologetically stern. But behind the scenes, whispers followed him, stories of disrespectful remarks, short tempers, and a tendency to embarrass attorneys in front of their clients. Many lawyers just swallowed their pride and avoided confrontation. After all, it's risky to argue with a judge in their own courtroom. The power dynamic is completely one-sided, but Pam Bondi wasn't like other lawyers, and on this day, the judge decided to test her. The case was straightforward, a procedural issue involving paperwork deadlines and a minor dispute over jurisdiction. Bondi calmly presented her client's position, backed it up with documentation, and cited legal precedent. But instead of responding to the argument, Judge Simmons went personal. Pam Bondi had just finished her statement when the judge leaned forward and, with a sarcastic tone, said, "Miss Bondi, perhaps you'd be more useful in front of a camera than in a courtroom. Some lawyers know the law. Others just know how to talk." The room went silent. The court clerk looked up from her keyboard. The bailiff shifted in his seat. Even opposing counsel raised an eyebrow. It wasn't just a rude comment. It was a public insult from a judge, suggesting that Pam Bondi's legal expertise was performative. Anyone else might have snapped back, raised their voice, stormed out, but not Pam. She paused, took a slow breath, then calmly said, "Your Honor, I'd like the record to reflect your comments." Silence. The judge blinked. "You may note whatever you wish, Ms. Bondi," he snapped, but something had changed. The room felt different. Bondi wasn't rattled. She was calculating. And she had a plan. After the session ended, Bondi quietly gathered her files and stepped outside the courtroom. She didn't talk to reporters. She didn't make a scene. Instead, she made 3 phone calls, one to the Judicial Qualifications Commission, one to a legal ethics committee, and one to a federal contact she had from her time in office. Because what Judge Simmons didn't know was that Bondi had kept detailed notes of previous comments he'd made over the past few weeks, not just to her, but to multiple female attorneys. And while judges are given a wide berth in how they run their courtroom, they're still bound by codes of ethics, and insulting attorneys, especially in ways that appear sexist or retaliatory, is a serious violation. Pam wasn't just defending herself, she was exposing a pattern. Within 48 hours, things began to move fast. The Judicial Commission opened a formal inquiry. A hidden microphone recording from a previous courtroom session was submitted anonymously. Bondi's complaint, paired with documentation from other attorneys, began to paint a clearer picture. What was originally considered a disrespectful comment snowballed into a much larger issue: abuse of power, gender bias in the courtroom, possible tampering with case outcomes. Then came the real twist. An internal investigation uncovered a side scandal. Judge Simmons had allegedly pressured court staff to destroy unfavorable memos of felony. That was enough for law enforcement to step in. Judge Ronald J. Simmons was arrested on official misconduct charges and placed on administrative leave without pay. In just 72 hours. The man who publicly mocked a lawyer for being too performative had become the story himself. The story exploded across headlines. Pam Bondi versus the bench. Ethics complaint shakes Florida judiciary. Judge removed after insulting former attorney general. Legal analysts praise Bondi's restraint. Women in law shared their own experiences. Social media flooded with support. #justice served trended on Twitter for a full day. Bondi, as expected, didn't gloat. She simply released a one-line statement: respect isn't optional in a courtroom, it's required. This story goes beyond headlines. It's about how legal systems protect themselves and how vulnerable they are when those in power go unchecked. Judges are entrusted with enormous responsibility, but they are not above the law. The Judicial Code of Conduct exists for a reason, and when someone abuses that robe, they don't just shame themselves, they shake the trust of every citizen who expects fairness. Pam Bondi's actions remind us that even in the most uneven power dynamics, standing up respectfully and legally can trigger change. This case became part of law school discussions. It even led to a statewide review of judicial behavior policies. What happened in that courtroom wasn't just shocking, it was transformational. A judge, once thought untouchable, brought down not by rage, but by reason. Not by noise, but by knowledge. And not by force, but by someone who knew the law and wasn't afraid to use it. Pam Bondi didn't win because of her title. She won because she stayed calm, professional, and strategic. She followed the rules while the judge broke them, and in the end, the system responded the way it should. It's a reminder to all of us: power doesn't protect you from consequences. Respect in the courtroom is earned, not demanded. And, most importantly, no one is above the law. Whether you're a law student, a legal professional, or just someone who loves real stories of justice, this case sends a powerful message. Integrity always matters. Here at Real Stories, we bring you the truth, unfiltered, unbelievable, and unforgettable. What do you think? Did the judge get what he deserved? Was Bondi right to take it that far? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. We read every single one. If this story shocked you, inspired you, or made you rethink how power should be handled, hit that like button. Share this video with someone who needs to hear it. And don't forget to subscribe to Real Stories, where the truth isn't just stranger than fiction. It's better. This is more than just a courtroom tale. It's a reminder of how fast things can change when someone stands up For what's right, Dot, thanks for watching, and until next time, stay smart, stay sharp, and stay real.